So, hello everyone. Welcome to today's stream. I'm Wendy. I'm here with Edmar from the community team. We are also joined by fellow Omniverse experts Ashley and Charles, who are huge Blender fans. Just as our star guest Tanya. We're going to talk to Tanya, who is an amazing artist. Her art is just beautiful, so be sure to check out her portfolio on Instagram and ArtStation. She's new to Omniverse, so we're going to talk about her favorite tools: Blender, Substance 3D Painter, and Omniverse Create. So it's going to be awesome, you guys. But before we get started, we have a few things that we want our fellow Omniverse to know. Edmar.
Yeah, we have GTC coming up.
Woo!
So GTC twice a year. So this is the spring 2023 GTC. Lots of really exciting sessions kicking off with our keynote with Jensen himself, going to be talking about the amazing technology, not only what we've been doing, but also what we're working towards. That's always going to be like one of the big highlights of GTC is seeing all that technical sizzle that's going to be shared there in the keynote. But we have lots of other great sessions. There are a lot of sessions, but here are just a few on the screen now. Speaking about USD, we're going to be having a session about how universal scene description can become the HTML of the metaverse. That is going to be really fascinating. We have a few different sessions on USD, but we'll also have a talk on how to start a business on Omniverse. So we're seeing a lot of companies right now that are really itching to take advantage of USD and working with multi-app workflows and being able to scale their teams with different technology easily. So we're seeing a lot of requests for contractors and other businesses who can leverage Omniverse and USD. So we're going to be kind of doing a nice panel with people who have done just that. They're going to tell you how they grew their business using Omniverse. A lot of great examples, including Chris Scott and Pekka Varis, who people might be familiar with. But also Michael Wagner from Epilog. It's going to be great. I'll be on that one too, which should be a lot of fun to chat with some of the people that we work closely with. Wendy and I are also very involved with the user group for GTC. That is so. Wendy, do you want to kind of describe what the user group is for everybody?
The user group is just a really great celebration for the community. That's really what we have a lot of fun with our user group session, and we talk about all of the amazing things people are doing with Omniverse. We have a whole bunch of people on that are just doing mind-blowing stuff, as well as our the Omniverse leads. So Damien is going to be there. Richard, Frank, all of our top guys are there, and so they have all of the latest info. They're going to talk about what the latest announcements are that we're going to talk about at the whole GTC session. And what's great is that we're going to have the user group like right at the beginning of GTC, so you can watch that and get ideas for some of the sessions that you want to join. But you need to make sure you register for GTC. It's free, and get on there, read the session catalog, and join in on all of the latest technology that's coming with Omniverse.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's like Wendy said, it's free. Just go to nvidia.com/GTC. One of the other sessions here I wanted to show really quick. Let's make this a little bigger. Future of Metaverse. So one of the folks that has been on a live stream before, Solomon Jagway, does some really cool stuff with Real Illusion and Omniverse. He's going to be part of a panel that looks at speech AI in extended reality. So how you can leverage AI and augmented reality to making really cool metaverse applications. That's going to be really cool. So I would definitely go to that session if you can. We actually have on our forums, this is probably gonna be hard to read, but if you go to our forums, forums and then go to announcements, you'll see this really great post from Amelia on our team, who put together a nice selection of sessions for those using Omniverse. So whether you're a creator or developer, if you're interested in SDG or known as synthetic data generation, or obviously we're gonna have lots of sessions on digital twins. Generative AI is really big right now, of course, for good reason. So we're going to be spending some time discussing that in several sessions. So all that is very easily accessible, not only from the NVIDIA website, but you can go to the Omniverse forums and you'll see it there. And we also started adding all these to our Discord server. So if you go to Discord and go to events in the upper left, you'll see a bunch of sessions and tells you what's happening and the link to register. The other thing, and talk about Tanya, who's here with us now. So the other thing we have ongoing, which kind of just has a few days left, it ends at the end of the month. We're doing the Share Your Art Valentine's Day Community Challenge. Yes, Valentine's Day is over, but the love is still in the air with the Omniverse community. So if you want to work on a render, or if you have something that kind of makes you think of Valentine's in any way, shape, or form, we'd love to see that on social media. So share it with the Share Your Heart hashtag, and we will cross promote it. And you can upload it to the Omniverse gallery. And on this one, it's basically pure bragging rights. But as you can see, Tanya did that image right there. Really, really nice. We spoke about that a couple weeks ago on a live stream with her. But yeah, so that is ongoing. But speaking of Tanya, let's get right into it. We have the very big pleasure of having Tanya here with us. Tanya has a really cool story, and we came across her not too long ago in the community, kind of, I think, fooling around with Omniverse a little bit. And I reached out to say hi and see if she needed any help or any kind of tips, and just had such an amazing time getting to know Tanya. And I really wanted to start to plan to have her on this live stream, because as you all see, she does have a really cool story, and her design is her background in industrial design is really interesting. And I also thought it'd be really fascinating to kind of watch someone who's just kind of learning Omniverse for the first time, and kind of get a sense of what their journey's been like, what have they discovered about it, what apps they're currently using, how they've leveraged Omniverse to improve their workflow. So Tanya, thank you so much for joining us. We also have Ashley and Charles here. We mentioned a little earlier before the show started that they're both big Blender users themselves. Charles has done a lot of documentation and is working on the connector for Blender and Omniverse. For people who don't know, Blender has its own version of Omniverse, own version in the Omniverse launcher that has a little bit greater compatibility with the Omniverse features. And Ashley also does a great live stream where she talks about building extensions and her background as a teacher. So really happy to have everybody here. The idea in this show is to kind of just celebrate kind of Tanya's journey and look at her kind of work as an artist. And also along the way, we want anyone who's watching to feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We would love for you to kind of ping Tanya on her workflow, what her suggestions are. She's an avid Substance Painter 3D user, Blender, Omniverse Create, and I think Tanya, you put together a slideshow, kind of going over stuff. But before you share that, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit and tell everybody kind of what your background is?
So hello, and thank you for having me on the stream again. I'm very new to the Omniverse, and I'm very new to live streaming. So yeah, please bear with me.
We will go easy on you.
Thank you. But yeah, I have been working in design and 3D for a long, long time. I studied industrial design. I'm from Austria, so I studied it there. And then I moved to the UK in 2002. I worked in London design studios for 9 years. And then because I had kids and everything, I moved to the countryside, and I started freelancing as soon as I had a bit of time to myself again, which, kind of freelancing helps with childcare and all of that. And yeah, so I kind of muddled along for a bit, and then realized that, technology, everything moves on. And if you work for yourself, you do the same things over and over again. And you can't really catch up if you're not in a studio, and if you're not really with people who know what's going on. So probably in 2019 or something like that I started learning a lot of apps again. Like I started with Photoshop because there were so many new things coming out, and I was just really keen to know more about the modern way of using Photoshop, and not from, back in 2005 or something like that. And it was just kind of mind-blowing. I got into just a more arty way of looking at things. And also for 3D, I came across Blender, and I was absolutely in love with the fact that it's, it is free, and there are so many tutorials out there. There's the community that helps out, and I was used to people being a bit cagey about their knowledge and what they know, but there's people just sharing, and it's just great. So I looked into Blender a lot just by online tutorials. If I liked somebody's tutorial, I might buy a course or something like that to support them. But it's been a really, really good and interesting journey into the 3D art side of things. And creating renderings with splashes, with some physics simulations, and all of that I couldn't really do with my CAD programs that much. And I just kind of went from Blender to Substance Painter, and then I started using Zbrush as well, and Unreal Engine, and then finally I came across Omniverse, which said combine all your favorite apps. So yes.
Sounds like my workflow. That's exactly what I did.
And so it sounds like you kind of leveraged a lot of online tools for learning about these different DCCs. Did you find that the videos were more helpful, or the forums or documentation page? Like, what was your kind of go-to for learning about, like, when you were diving into Blender or Substance Painter?
YouTube was
YouTube?
my bestest friend, yeah. And starting off usually with Googling something and then finding the answer, because there is an answer to most everything, I suppose. And it's just that YouTube tutorials can be a bit hit and miss. You have to go through a lot of them to find the right answer sometimes. And
Right.
finding some tutorials that just get to the point and answer your question without any further ado, it's brilliant, because I haven't got much time in the day. I haven't got much time to work or to learn stuff, so it has to be quite streamlined. And as much fun as it is to find out about new stuff and trying to work your way around it and finding new way of approaching things, which has been the case with Omniverse, it's still quite good just to get a straight answer if you have a problem.
Yeah. And then what? So your portfolio is pretty amazing. You have a really awesome Instagram page also, where you've done some really cool work, including anyone who's been watching Wednesday will like seeing some of her work on Wednesday, Adams. But do you want to talk a little bit about the kind of work you've done specifically in terms of different projects or companies?
Yes, I worked for big packaging, FMCG, structural packaging clients back in London, and it was a mixture of starting with a sketch and then going into CAD and then doing visualizations. It was always the same kind of process, and when I went freelance, I could then start either helping a company just doing sketches, or just doing the visualization, or just doing the CAD work. But being a freelance, I don't have much stuff to show at the end of the day, because not everything gets launched and made public. So I'm under NDAs for my clients and the companies and design agency I work with. So I realized to create a portfolio, I needed to do some private projects and personal stuff, which I haven't before. And so the last 3 years I've been catching up. And because I was learning Blender and learning other stuff, I kind of did it a bit like a 3D journey into the 3D art world. And that's my Instagram, where I just post what I've been thinking about or what I've been working on, any progress that I've made. And I've got, some really nice folk out there who then comment and they have a similar thing or they have some advice. So it's, I do love my Instagram page. It's like a creative diary, more or less. And I've got something on ArtStation, something on other platforms, because you just have to these days. The days where I show up with a huge portfolio with printouts is otherwise. also the work now I do is remotely. Even I've worked remotely before COVID and everything, but I work remotely because that fits me perfectly. So, and it gets me to work with other people in the States and other sides of the earth, and it's just less limiting, especially because I live in the countryside. That I meet great people virtually.
Well, one thing I've noticed that I find very interesting also is that coming from a background in industrial design and then this transition to kind of realistic objects, you have a very interesting way of like bringing a lot of life into the stuff you're doing, which I would think is not really so much an important aspect of industrial design work typically. But it seems like you've kind of gone all the way the other side now, and you really I don't know if we're going to see it in a few minutes, but the pillows you were working on looks so cool, and yeah, just breathing this great life into all images you're doing. So it looks like you're having a lot of fun also doing this, which is great. You prepared a little slideshow, I think.
Yes, let me share my screen.
Great. And yeah, Instagram. So anyone, we'll post the link to the Instagram. I think it's in the description, but if not, we'll post in the chat in a second, so you can all check out her Instagram page.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I started off with that slide because it's the title of today, and I rented it in Omniverse, and I'm gonna show you in a little demo how I set up the scene. It's very simple. I created the wash basin in Rhino and then brought it into Omniverse and added all the props around it to create a little scene. So that's the workflow on that one.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
Great lighting.
thank you. Oh,
The
the lighting,
reflections is just
Yeah.
it's
gorgeous.
that's the thing about Omniverse. You see, let me start from my background. So what I usually do is I draw, sketching, then go into CAD modeling or 3D modeling, and that either goes into production or visualization. And as Edma said, it's very not boring, but there is a certain formulaic visualization style going on in industrial design and in packaging design. So I was like in that world, and then I realized that maybe I want to do something a bit more arty and a bit more fun, and how I can push the limits. But then obviously some industrial designer render people would go, oh, why did you do that? Anyway, I decided that I just have to go with the flow, and I see where it leads me. And so the visualization part of my workflow became quite a big thing over the last 3 years to improve my renderings, to improve my materials, my lighting, my everything. And Blender is great because you can literally wrangle the lights and everything and the materials. I kind of got more into 3D Painter because I just saw some amazing work on that, and I just try to combine everything, and I try to learn and to soak up any information that I could get. But obviously it was a different world because I didn't know anything about UV unwrapping or anything like that, because when I rendered something for a client, I would just use something like Keyshot, where I've got preset materials that I drag and drop and have scenes set up already, and it's just really quickly to show something that's totally new to the client in a very basic setup probably. And now the world kind of opened with all these other things, and I was very, very keen on food renderings and exciting splashes and stuff that I couldn't do before. So you can see that's kind of my inspiration and renderings I love doing. And then I came across Omniverse, and I was like, so how can I fit that into my workflow? And do I need another render engine? You know, is it just a render engine? What actually is it? And it is just so much more, because I only scratched the surface in the last, 2 months or so since the Christmas challenge. I just thought that I do what I like doing, which is rendering, and I just see where it takes me. And I still had this thing in my head that it can connect all your favorite apps. And so I'd worked on that as well and tried to do just that. And so if you can see my journey here, there is the Christmas challenge, which was literally just trying to get some model into Omniverse Create and setting the lights and doing a rendering. And then to doing something where I did a rendering in Blender, and I thought, actually, I just want to see what it looks like in Omniverse, because Omniverse has just a beautiful light quality to it, and it's real-time rendering, and I think that the materials and everything just look amazing, and the render time is so quick. I did an actual camera movement today, which rendered out in next to no time at all, and it's just I'm always blown away. And I know there is so much more that Omniverse Create can do, and all the other things that you can add to it. So I'm still in the very, very beginning of that journey, and I'd like
Awesome.
to show you some more stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really
Yeah.
love your work. It's you could, like I said earlier, you just breathe so much life into the renders you're doing. And I also found, I think one of the original things that we were talking about is how you were doing a lot of work creating bottles. Basically, and many people might not know this. And I didn't know this before either, until one of my friends also in the industry did this work. But a lot of times when you see advertisements and they're showing a bottle, whether it's a milk bottle or alcohol or something like that, those bottles in that ad are usually not real bottles. They're actually done by artists like Tanya. And they have the nice, the beads of sweat on them and stuff. But that's a really like interesting niche of work to do, and I think pays very well too, from what I understand. So that's very cool though, to see that type of variety that you've been able to kind of just jump back and forth with everything in the way you do. All right, great. So you are showing us those famous cushions I just mentioned.
Yes, I
Soft
thought
and
I thought I start off with a scene that hasn't got much in it. And I'm in Blender here. Let me just show you the Omniverse launcher, because that's the thing you start off with when you download everything, and then here you get your library, where you can add the apps that you like and that you use from the Exchange tab here. So there is Omniverse Create, and then you can scroll down and you find your Unreal Engine extension and all of that. So you just have to install it, and then it turns up in your library, like my connectors for Rhino is here, and for Unreal is here, Substance Painter is here, and then I've got Create here, and I've got the Blender special version here that supports USD, and you start it from your Omniverse launcher here. So then you are in Blender, and you have your scene. Just show you it wasn't very, it wasn't quite so amazing as I expected it to be. So that's why I wanted to take that whole scene and bring it into Omniverse. And you've got an Omniverse tab here, and it says Export USD, and you just click that. You find your directory where you want to put it in, and you click Export, and that's it. I usually have visible only here, because I have a lot of stuff hidden in my scene that I don't need. And so it kind of takes these items and saves them out for me. And then I hop into Create. And in my content drawer, it comes up here as the USD file. And that's what it looks like when it's opened up. And as you can see here, I've got the cushions, but the texture isn't quite as I would like it to be. So I thought I'll try this amazing thing where I go into Painter. Let me see if that works. And in Painter, you can import the meshes from the scene from Omniverse. And that looks a bit strange here because it's got this huge plane there, and it's the other way around. But you can see my cushions here now in Painter. Can you see that?
Yeah, they look
Yes.
good.
Yeah, cool. So what I can do now is I've prepared some fabric materials, and I can just drag and drop them. Let's see this one. So, and then just to quickly just make my fish marks quickly. Right. I shall fix the right cushion, this one. So yeah, highlight 3 times. And I could maybe texture the base and everything else, but I thought I can do that in Omniverse. And all I do now is go to my Omniverse connector back down here and say export textures. And there it is.
Ooh.
Very nice. And what are you using for hardware on this machine? Like, what kind of GPU do you have?
An RTX 3080.
Okay,
Nice.
cool. Yeah, it seems to work pretty quick.
So
Very nice.
yeah,
And this is a pretty common workflow too, right? To use 3D Substance 3D printer like this.
yeah, it's really nice to see the direct connection and to see it as a live link. I really like that. I just have to turn this sphere light off here because that always appears for some reason.
So hold on just a second. For some reason, my Discord it's just showing spinning stuff. So hang on just a second.
We are all
Okay,
slowly
there we
coming
go.
back.
There we go. We're back. Sorry
Just
about that,
watching
Tanya.
us like slowly populate.
Okay,
We're-
we're all back now. Oh, is Tiny still here? Or is she frozen?
Oh
Uh-oh.
no.
I was going to say, wow, she's holding that pose really nice.
She could be a live model.
Okay, so it looks like we had an internet little blip. So we'll see. Hopefully Tanya will be back in 1 second. But what I was saying, so Charles and Ashley, is this a pretty common workflow that she's showing off here right now?
Yeah, actually, in one of my live streams, I was doing this and I did the live connector. So if Tanya had used like a live session while she was updating those textures, it would show that in real time in Omniverse rather than having to do the import and export. It would do it all in real time. And in my live stream, it worked super well and it was so cool. I made a chair with human skin on it, which that's just because I'm weird, but I wanted to see what the textures looked like. And I exported that I think like a 2K texture and it was beautiful.
I think we're all going to want to see that share in a second, but very cool. And Charles, Tanya's back. Hey, Tanya.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
It was an internet
fine.
bloop of some kind.
Cool. Yeah, everything froze suddenly, so I was like, should I show you my screen again?
Yes,
that'd be
please,
great.
please.
Can you see it?
Yes.
So here is my scene back in Omniverse, and it's just, you can see how lovely detailed everything is just with the basic light that I imported from Blender. And in terms of materials, I can just go to the material library here down in where the content drawer is, and I can just find some nice. Right, this one. I tried concrete for the wall, which is obviously quite big. But if you just click here, you've got your plane where it's on, and then you just click on the material and you zoom down to the UV.
Hang on, I'm gonna close Discord and reopen it. I apologize to all the streamers, just to see if that fixes the connection problem. So give me just a minute. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Ooh, that was pretty cool, though. That change made the wall look much, much nicer.
So yes, it's you kind of play around with the scale of that. Can you still see me and my screen?
There we go. Okay. I think we're all back now. So, so go for it, Tanya.
Okay. Can you see my screen and?
Yes.
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 Okay. Cool. Great. So yeah, I can turn off the grid, and I can turn off the lights. If it lets me, there we go. And so from here, I can either try, different material setups, or I can actually show you can go into the material for the wall, for example. You can change the color of it and play around with your scene. And then I have some cameras imported from Blender. They were square, but now it's a different format, so you can adjust that. I have tried to do a camera move earlier, but I did it with the bathroom scene, so I might just do it with that. But as I said before in my last stream, I usually just take some screen grabs, so you can capture screenshot, and it would just literally take that, and you can specify the size and ratio on the viewport as the render resolution here, and you then take your screenshot. So this is my cushions here. I've got one more thing I want to show you on that front, because the good thing with Blender is that you can make those cushions really, really easily. Let me just show you that.
I was wondering if you'd done the cushions in Rhino in some crazy way, because they look very clothy, like they were simulated.
Well, the thing is that you literally in Blender, you start off with this plane that is double-sided, and then you literally blow air into it.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's a nice trick.
What?
And that's how you make cushions.
That's amazing.
Ashley right now is thinking what she could do with human skin in this little trick.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a whole cushion with human skin.
Yeah.
I have a question for Charles, actually. So I don't know if this is just a feature that needs to be like checked off, but when Tanya exported her USD from Blender into Omniverse, I noticed that her UV textures of one of the pillows was upside down and didn't look as clean as it did in the cycles renderer for Blender. Is there a way to fix that? So if she did want to use those materials that she had in Blender in Omniverse rather than taking that step into Substance, is there a way to fix it?
I think that, I mean, what she did when she tapped on that material in Create and flipped things around is probably the best way.
Okay.
I don't know, like, I really need to learn more about shading stuff. We're looking at a lot of the material translation right now because there are things that just don't come over quite as cleanly. It could be a thing where Create wants to have its UVs in the opposite direction, and maybe that could be an export flag. So that's something that's something that would probably land on my plate.
Yeah, I noticed when I did the Valentine's challenge that when you export it as a USD file, you can't manipulate your materials afterwards easily in Omniverse. But there's a workaround where I did it as an FBX and then converted that into a USD file, which then had be able to change my UVs around or flip the normal map and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the amazing thing I found was, with the export USD button here. So I've got my little animation here baked in Blender. I say export USD and I click animation. I say start frame 1 and 30. That's the time it takes to blow up. And then I save that as a USD. And then back to my content folder. There we go. And with I was putting it off slightly, the whole animation in Omniverse, and I had this very kind chat friend on the Omniverse channel on Discord who made a little tutorial for me how to animate stuff in Omniverse. So
Who was it?
see
Do you remember who it was?
see
Of
ideas.
course, he's
Yeah.
here. He's
Big,
here.
big, big
Hey.
thank you. Big thank you.
Zia, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm very, very grateful because I just, when you're completely new to a UI and even you think that you know where to find stuff, it's still hard to work your way around it. But, just having my little timeline and seeing how he just did the keyframes was very straightforward in the end. So I thought, oh, why didn't I do that before? And so on my inflate in Omniverse, there you go.
That is awesome.
And that was just a click, from Blender into Omniverse.
And in Blender, you did that with GeoNodes?
It's a physics simulation. It's a great tutorial somewhere on YouTube how to make cushions. It's so there is a physics simulation on here where it's cloth and
Oh, okay.
and you put pressure in it and blow it up.
Very cool. I did
So-
something similar with geometry nodes. That's why I was asking, because when I was doing the Valentine's Day stuff, I was also thinking about like creating heart balloons, and I had learned in geometry nodes how to take like a flat heart and like slowly blow it up really large. And it was like by typing like tau into one of the translations, it was like this whole complex thing. And it didn't actually like blow it up in a simulated way like that. So that's why I was curious, but that's because it's using physics. So much cooler.
Yeah. It's whatever works for what you need to do. And
Yeah, because I really like the cloth. Like it has little like the way the fabric would like fold in itself like an actual cloth. I
Yeah.
really like that.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty good. You can also actually blow it up and then drop it onto something so it actually sits on the sofa properly and stuff like that. Which
So I've been watching the Dream Home Makeover on Netflix, and the woman who owns the interior design firm, she teaches her children to karate chop the middle of the pillows. So I want to do that. I want to like, I don't know if I could do this in XR or something, but like actually like physically take my hand and like karate chop the pillow. You know what? I'm gonna try this.
Just to like break them in and stuff.
Yeah, so it makes
Yeah.
like when you set them up on like your couch, you karate chop it in the middle so it looks, I don't know, I guess that's what interior design people do when they're setting up a room for photography. It makes it look good.
it is,
Wow.
but there are no karate chopped ones in my house.
I was doing it at first, but I have like a billion pillows on my new couch, so I'm not karate chopping every single day.
Right. So shall I show you my last bit, which is
Yes,
Yeah.
please. That'd be awesome. This is great. And feel free, anyone who's watching in the chat, feel free to ask any of your questions you have, and we will vocalize them here.
so
Oh yes.
this is a basin I modeled in Rhino for some challenge or other, and I just put this wood texture on because there was also a wood material challenge on Instagram that I took part in, and I got it in here, and I was like, oh, how am I going to show it? You know, I need something, but there wasn't enough time to go into Blender and build a whole scene around it, or do anything clever with it. So I thought, why don't I just have a look around the asset library here? And as you can see, you can just drag and drop a lot of really cool stuff into your scene from here and just make it up like that. And so what I started off with is just to create some planes. Let me just see if I can get the right. I'm not a gamer, so the whole kind of WER kind of things don't mean a lot to me. But I'm trying my best. I'm used to having the gizmo, which is all free option in one go. But you can actually click on your plane and then say duplicate, which I really like, and then you can just rotate it around again. Oh, see, that's what happens. Because I went from.
I have a cheat for you.
Oh, please tell me.
In the NVIDIA assets, if you type in stage, there's like a cube with a floor and 2 walls that
Oh,
you can just like throw into your scene. Maybe a stage or I can't remember what it's called. Never mind. Don't listen to me. My cheat's wrong.
no, don't
Maybe it's
worry.
called like cube or something. I'll have to find it.
Yeah, let me just create just a basic cube here underneath the wash basin.
Nice.
It's just getting the camera to do what I ask it to do, and I've started my animation. There we go. So on here, I just want to, make it look like a fake underside of a wash basin. So let me scale it a little bit. And then let me just check my cameras because I've got a few cameras in there. So let me get rid of the plane. But I've also got my other plates that I've prepared earlier. So let's move the back side of it. Right. So again, for my cube here, I can just go into materials. and find something to work with. I can go back to my assets, the asset store. Just here, I can say mirror. And I've used this antique mirror here, but I could use the round one instead. And
Can I ask, you said you were using Keyshot before with Zbrush, I assume?
I used it for my packaging renderings.
Do you find that using Create to set up scenes like this is kind of in the same range? Like a lot of materials, a lot of assets that you can drop in?
That aspect is very similar. I quite like the way I can customize it in Omniverse. The materials, that works really well. Keyshot does do some customization, and you can dig into material notes and all of that if you have the pro version. But it's I like working with proper lights and setting it up. Keyshot has these HDRI maps that you can manipulate the lights on, and it's okay. But it's the I don't think I get the kind of quality of lighting and surfacing on them. I probably don't use it enough, to be honest. So it's just for me to learn Omniverse, create, just to render in a couple of months. I think it was really straightforward and really a good thing to try out. And it's very intuitive. And you've got these assets that are just there, and you can use. You can also type in plant.
It's crazy how quickly you made this scene. It looks beautiful. On ZBrush, so Z was just asking if you could share a little bit more information how you use ZBrush with your workflow.
I use ZBrush when I need to do something very organic that would take me a long time to make in Rhino or even in Blender. And it's just really beautiful to sculpt and to, I used it to make some characters and faces, and it's just lovely and relaxing to work with, and smoothing the surfaces and getting your details in. It's really, it's nice. I don't, I wouldn't use it for the basin, because I would do that a different way. But if I have a shape in my head, then I know a few apps that I can work with, and I would use the best app for that shape. Because for the hearts, for the Valentine's challenge, I know that there is a really easy way of modeling a heart shape in Rhino, of all places. And then I exported that into ZBrush, sculpted it a bit, and then brought that into my scene. So yeah, there are many ways. I don't, and everybody has their favorite workflows and apps to use. But yeah, I just think for a nice and easy scene like this, you don't have to go anywhere else, probably, because you could just do it from Omniverse, and then you can add your customized materials if you wanted to from Painter. But it was just nice to explore what's on offer here, so just stretch this out. And then obviously we need a full tab. And I had this one because I could just scale it up to the right size and have it hanging over here. So obviously it's always worth checking that everything is in line. The plant doesn't interfere with the bowl too much. And I've got a camera set up. This one. Which I can adjust, and then I can pick my focal point and set my f-stop and take it from there. I also found a way of animating, because I did this camera turn, and I managed to keep the focal point on the basin, which I thought was quite a technical challenge for me. But yeah, I can just quickly show you how to very simply just see if I can get that. If I just extend my timeline here and then go to the beginning. Escape always gets out of everything here. Just try to adjust this. So I can just add a keyframe. Go to my camera. I'm on camera 1. Find that. And keyframe the first one. Go back to the end. And then just... Yeah, sometimes that doesn't work at all. Just get something like an end point here. I know that CIDs is probably going to be like, oh, it's going to look too wobbly. But I did one that didn't wobble too much. So I keyed.
Don't worry about him. He's a big fan.
Yes, I know. So it's literally, obviously you can play with the curves and with the transitions, but it's as easy as that. So you key the first one, you key the last one. But you can see my basin is all blurred here at the last keyframe. So what I can do is here on my camera, go to my distance, and then all I do is say set key and go back to the end. I can now I need to double check the distance with my eyedropper. So it's in focus here. And then I can just say set key. So by right clicking, you can set keys in wherever parameter you're able to do an animation in the keyframe. So it's in focus here. It's in focus there.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool. It's wild we're able to do in just a few minutes. We have a few people have already responded that they're very impressed by what you're showing off, this workflow. So thank you for showing this. Pekka actually, well, he's two things. One, he's asking if you have any interest or experience working on any animals. Like he's looking for a cat and potentially a rat for his commercial project he's working on. Have you ever done any animals?
I've done a cat because when I was learning Zbrush, I did a course where I created a stylized character, and it's on my Instagram somewhere. It's Sabrina the Witch with Salem the
Nice.
cat.
There you go, Pekka. So I'll put you two in touch, but looks like Pekka could use some help with a cat and a rat.
Absolutely.
But the other thing he also has a good suggestion, Charles and Ashley, for camera focus constrained to X form would be a really good feature. So maybe we should talk to the dev team and see if something like that could be done. It does sound Tanya was nodding her head, so it sounds like it might make sense.
Yeah, we can put in a feature request.
So thank you. And then let me see. A lot of people thanking for the workflow show off. This is fantastic. So Ashley, Charles, what do you think of that little demo of workflow? Do you have any tips or tricks or suggestions? Anything you would have done a little differently, or?
I am wondering if when you set your final key for the camera, if you changed your focal distance your focal distance before you set key for the whole translation, would it also globally set your focal distance? So you move your camera, you adjust your focal distance, then you set key on your timeline. So then you don't have to go back in later.
I tried it before where I literally just set it, but then it obviously went blurry when I moved the camera around because it changed the distance to the basin. But if I just kind of focus on the basin in both the beginning and the end frame, then that solved my problem. I'm sure there's a more cleverer way of doing it, but yeah, I do like a bit of, you know, blurry background and stuff like that. So it's nice to play with that, or, you know, have a rendering where you focus on one thing and then you change to the other, and it's all things that you can easily do here. And also there is a little button down here which brings up the movie capture window, where you can just set your frames and you can set your aspect ratio and tell it where to save it, and then it renders the sequence out for you, or 240 frames in a minute or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it definitely looks so much better to have that out of focus distance. Makes it look more realistic. When I was first learning like 3D environments and 3D lighting, I took a course with the Academy of Animated Arts, and I was doing all this in Maya using Arnold, getting very similar renderings. And this one scene took me like 5 weeks to set up, render multiple passes to finally get what I wanted. Then I started adjusting the camera focus. So to be sitting here and just watch this happen in 20 minutes and get like very realistic results, like it warms my heart as an artist. It makes me feel really good.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. It's a game changer, because even Blender having an animation, just a turntable, would crash my computer for some reason. And it's, yeah, doing something in an efficient way and looking that good, you know, without me changing too much of the lights or anything in the scene yet. So there's so much room for improvement, but you know, it's just the first output that you get is already looking really good. So
Yeah, we've actually had one of the DevRels on my team. He went into ChatGPT and he asked ChatGPT to make camera CSV files to upload into Omniverse, so that he didn't even have to do those camera angles. It plugged all those CSV files automatically and created all of those cameras. So you can even like make your workflow even faster. And that's actually an extension in the extension manager. Like he published that as a public extension. So like all these different tools that you can incorporate into your workflow to even cut down your time even faster. So you can go from like creating this 20-minute scene to 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, somewhere along those lines, just with extra tools.
wow, no, amazing. So should I stop sharing my screen, guys? Do you?
Yeah, that's great. Actually, let me see if I could share my screen. I'm going to show, for anyone who didn't catch the link earlier, this is Tanya's Instagram page. Lots of really cool stuff. I'm going to look for that cat right now. Let me see where the cat is. Now I'm very curious. I didn't catch it the first time. There are the pillows. That's an awesome basin scene. Let me see. There's the Share Your Heart challenge that Tanya participated in. They're great, delicious looking chocolates.
The cat is far down. It's yeah, like mid last year.
There's Wednesday.
There's Wednesday.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so really cool stuff. Keep going down, right?
Yes.
Ooh, look at that pumpkin.
So we only
Is
knocked
that a
over.
furry pumpkin?
Yes.
That looks
That is
awesome.
freaky. That looks like something Ashley might have at her house.
That's it. It's like right up par with my skin chair.
It's Blender. Blender is
Apologies,
amazing.
everybody. I have to drop. So,
All right,
Okay. Thanks,
Charles.
Charles.
See you later, Charles.
thank you, Tanya.
Bye.
Oh, so
Thank you so much. So there is
Ooh.
something here. So there is Salem and
Oh,
Okay,
that
I'm playing
that is so
you know,
cool.
I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, so I love
Yeah,
this.
and you've actually created a whole a character as a backstory on yours, right? Let me see. What if I remember right? So a scar, pink hair.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm so happy to remember. She
Yes.
got her pink hair because her scar changed the way that she can see and interpret magic, which is why she can see ancient magic in the game.
That is so
Uh-huh.
cool.
And that's why she was accepted as a 5th year, because they had to make sure that she was not being haunted by dark evil magic.
Very cool.
I had to have a reason for her to have all these things. Why is she a 5th year student? Why can she see ancient magic? Well, there you go.
Very cool.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so this is a really cool design also. So yeah, it's really cool. Is your industrial design background, you see, has a great influence on the kind of art you can come up with here.
It's one of my favorite things to do is to do Rhino parametric models.
What's
And
what's
so
Yeah.
in Rhino, there is an add-on that's Grasshopper, and it lets you just make mathematical patterns and all
Oh.
sorts, and then you can take that and make it into something real. And I just love, because I don't like doing patterns by hand. I'm very impatient, and if I have the computer do that for me, then I'm all up for that. So in this case, you would have a shape that is just a loft between a few profiles, and then Grasshopper slices those and spans them along a path.
Nice.
And
Very, that's cool.
so yeah, Grasshopper is really brilliant.
That looks like a bench you would see like outside of a brand new park or like a
Yeah.
contemporary art museum or something.
I was gonna say, it looks like something you'd see in a museum. Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So in the past, so obviously you've designed stuff that actually get manufactured, right?
Yes, I have.
That must be so cool to actually start from something from concept and then to actually see them go through the process of actually creating it and something you can touch. It's so wild.
Yeah, no, as I said, it's been 10 years since I had.
Hmm.
Well, I have had a beer bottle has been coming out, the Peroni beer bottle, if anybody anybody comes across it.
Wow.
And I made some real chocolate, in my previous job. So we designed a chocolate bar that is made for sharing. It's kind of based in the UK. For you had to go to the chocolate factory and do some research and see how chocolate is being poured into the trays and what design features we could add to design a new bar shape. So that was very exciting.
Very cool. I love this too. I wish someone would make that. No one made this, right?
No, and
This should be made. Someone
those
needs to.
yeah,
Yeah.
those shapes, they're all made with Grasshopper, and they're based on tutorials I found on YouTube again. So the bench, that's on a tutorial, and these shapes, because I think they're just really inspirational. They might be used for something else, or they could be some other
Mhm.
product, but it's just
Very cool. I never heard of parametric design. It's so cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Google that right now and do a
I
couple
know.
tutorials because I think that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, but it's a bit like geometry nodes in Blender, where you you have your nodes and you plug them together and tell the computer mathematically to create a shape.
Nice.
It's wild. Well, Tanya, I can't thank you enough for sharing all this great knowledge with us. Watching your workflow live, I think, has been super helpful for people. And I think we all learned a few things. I'm so happy that you're taking the time to share and you're involved with our community. It's really, really great to have you part of the Omniverse community. Is there any kind of advice you would give to people who might be just learning Omniverse for the first time? Maybe they're a Blender user and want to see how they would leverage Omniverse. What would you tell them?
Don't be afraid to just get stuck in and try and export, import, see where it takes you and which bits are easy and which bits are difficult. And there are tutorials out there that help. And if you love Blender, then you love playing and trying out different things anyway. And if you can just see Omniverse as your extension of easy and fast, beautiful rendering. You can still do all the cool stuff in Blender that you used to do, but you can just use it as an extra tool in your tool belt.
Well, I cannot see what you do next. Thank you so much for sharing. Very cool. I hope I'll introduce you and Pekka afterwards, and maybe you guys can work together. Looks like you can use some help with from someone with your background. For anyone who's interested, Ashley, when is your next live stream?
on Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am on the official streams now, so you don't have to
That's
go
awesome.
anywhere. You can just stay right where you're at and
Wait,
watch my stuff.
are you skipping this Monday though, or is that next? Or
No, I skipped this past Monday because
Okay.
President's Day, and then I skipped today
Holiday.
so I could be here with Tanya. And so I'm back on Monday,
Okay.
and I'm going to be back into my action graph where I'm connecting a widget to a function. And then the Wednesday after that, same time, same place, I'm going to be creating custom OmniGraph nodes.
Nice.
Very cool. So tune into Ash, and maybe she'll show you her leather human chair. Sounds fascinating.
It's not real. It's not real. Got to specify.
Well, so everybody, thank you. Thanks to Charles, who had to leave a couple minutes early for a meeting. But yeah, thanks for everybody for participating. Thanks for all the great viewers and questions and comments we got during the stream. Everyone loving Tanya's work. So thanks
Thank
again,
you so
Tanya.
much. Thank you.
Thanks to
guys.
Wendy for always navigating any hiccup we have with extreme awesomeness. We will. So everybody, don't forget, register for GTC. It's coming up quick.
Oh, yeah.
We're literally 4 weeks away right now. Everyone at NVIDIA is kind of hustling to wrap up their final presentations and show and tells. You're in for some big treats. It's going to be a lot of fun. So go ahead and register early so you get notified of any updates. You can check out the sessions at nvidia.com/GTC. You could go to session catalog. You can go to the forum if you want to see some curated list on the announcements area of the forums. You can go to Discord and go to the events in the upper left if you want to see about 30 sessions I think I added there for Omniverse users. So you'll get a really good view of what's come. So whether you're passionate about digital twins, synthetic data generation, whether you're a creator, a developer, it's really something there for everybody. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some of you there and all the chats that are happening. It's all virtual and free, so I'm really looking forward to it. Well, Wendy and I will obviously love to see everybody at the user group.
Yes.
Register for that one first. Everything else, maybe Keynote is a little better than user group a little bit, but
Just a
definitely come to
little.
user group as well. Thank you, everybody. It's been a great time, Tanya. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you come out with next. And thanks for also participating in the Share Your Heart Challenge. Really cool. All right, thanks, everybody. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.